Welcome to the She Build Show. I'm your host, Stefanie Olson, a licensed general contractor who builds new construction, renovates, and designs your vision. Today, more than ever, we need raw, authentic women who are willing to rise above society's norms, break those glass ceilings, and encourage each other to boldly build the life we were meant to live. So, honey, what are you building? Welcome to the She Build Show. I am with Staci Martinez today, and you are from, I don't want to say it wrong, so tell us where you're from.
I'm from Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Which is like spelled in a random way that you shouldn't spell. My son is he's in 4th grade, and he comes home the other day and he's like, why is English so terrible, Mom? I'm like, I know, it just like everything doesn't, because he's taking all these spelling tests and vocab and he can't spell anything, you know, because English is not spelled how it sounds. So,
right.
All right, Staci, well, welcome to the show. Tell us, maybe one of your most passionate things that you're doing right now.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me.
And of course.
One of my favorite things that I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
So right now I'm actually building another sculpture for the sculpture walk downtown Sioux Falls. It's one of the biggest sculpture walks in the world. So
wow.
I'm super excited to be part of that. My first one last year was the gnome. So that's what I'm doing right now. I have a few other things going on right now that are really big too. So
that's amazing. And so you're doing the sculpture because you weld, right? Like that is your passion, welding?
Yes, I weld.
Okay. So how did you learn how to weld, or where did that passion come from? Was it in your family? Where did that start?
Sure. I worked at a manufacturing company here in town. I was working shipping and receiving and inventory management, and they were a little bit they were short on welders, and they asked me if I wanted to. Tell them no at first, and then they kind of persisted that I did it, and I tried it, and I instantly fell in love with it. I got certified through them, and then I just my husband and I started for a company. And then as soon as he was up and ready, I started my own welding company. So
that's awesome. So tell us what types of welding you do. So I know like an easy bit about welding because my son welds, and he like went through the school welding program in high school, and he absolutely loves it and can do anything. So what's your, like, maybe tell the audience like your favorite type and the types that you know, because I know that there's not just one type of welding.
Right. I am a MIG welder, and I do not really know much about any of the others other than at FabTech a couple of years ago, I was taught a little bit how to TIG weld, and I fell in love with that too. So one day that's going to come.
Okay, do you know how to explain the difference between the two?
So I know that TIG welding takes a tungsten, and I'm not sure about that process. I just do know that MIG welding takes gas and the electrode, and they come together, and that's how MIG works. And it's kind of a faster paced weld as well. When TIG is like slower, prettier dimes. If you've ever heard of anybody saying stacking dimes, that's where that comes in.
Okay, got it. And so when you're doing a sculpture, how long does something like that take you? Like, what's your process? How many hours? How big is this thing? I'm just curious, the magnitude.
Right. So my gnome sculpture with the mushrooms and everything, that was about 22 inches tall, about 65 pounds. I actually made like a skeletal of it at first with 1/8-inch rod. And then I filled it in with scrap metal, just pieces of flat bar, 1/8-inch flat bar. I just hammered it, bent it the way I wanted it to, kind of manipulated it a little bit. I welded, ground some of the weld out to shape it. And that's pretty much that process in a short little
nugget. So then what about do you have an idea of what the sculpture is going to be for this year?
Yeah, so I kind of ran out of time, and initially I was going to do a man. His name is Mr. Bendo, and he's well known around our area, so he's kind of a local pop culture thing. Oh, cool. So I'm running out of time. I only have a few weeks left to get it in, so I'm going to do another sculpture with mushrooms. And if I have time, I'm going to throw a little gnome in there just because everybody loves it, seems to love the gnome. I don't know what it is with him, but I love him too. So
That's awesome. So are you still working at that manufacturing plant doing welding, or are
Mm.
you full time?
Nope, that was about 9 years ago. So I quit there to help my husband start his wood floor business.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, I'm 3 years in on my own business. So I
Okay.
left that welding company about 9 years ago.
Okay, got it. What so what does the, like the daily process, or what does the daily life look like for you with the welding business? Like what are people calling you for? Is it more artistic? Because you seem like a very creative person.
Yeah.
That like creativity is kind of your driver for all of this. So tell me, what do you offer in the business, and what does that look like? I'm just, there's a lot of people out there that have a passion for something, and I think sometimes it's hard to like make money and be creative. Like it's, you have to work hard at your passion being combined with like making a living. How does that work for you with what you're doing, and what does your business look like?
So right now, I do a lot of fabrication work.
Mhm.
So a friend of mine and I team up to do table legs, tables, shelving systems, chairs, you name it, whatever. And he does the wood, I do the metal.
Uh-huh.
Um, so that brings in quite a bit of money for me.
So that's like custom furniture.
Yes, custom furniture. Yep, custom
Okay,
made. He comes
cool.
to me. He kind of says, "Hey, this is kind of what we're looking at. We need to come up with something." Or he'll like bring me a little sketch and like, "Hey, can you make this look like this?"
Yeah, you're like,
So
sure.
then, yeah, I love that part of it. So, but my ultimate goal is to make sculptures full time. And
Awesome.
I'm kind of on the cusp of that right now. I'm starting to slow down on my fabrication part and headed more into the nosedive of sculptures full time.
Cool. So how do you like go into sculptures full time? Like how do you do that? Like how do you get your sculptures out there? What does because I see stuff like that when you walk around, and you don't, I mean, most of the time people don't think like, oh, I wonder who made that and if they're doing that full time. Like
Yeah.
how do you do that?
So there, I didn't know this until I entered, Mr. Hagelbor is the gnome's name. I entered him into the sculpture walk and I got in and we had, a welder's, an artist reception. So I got to speak with the other artists and I learned that once you are in this network of welders, it's nationwide. So I'll make a sculpture and if it gets in, it'll get put on the sculpture walk. I get paid for that. I can win the end of the year People's Choice. So whatever I put my sculpture at, anywhere from like $1,000 to $20,000.
Mhm.
If you win that People's Choice Award, the city of Sioux Falls buys that sculpture and places it downtown permanently for everybody to see. If they
Wow.
don't, another city could pick it up and pay me to display whatever sculpture I made for them. I can win that People's Choice. So I can put in as many sculptures as I want. So if I wanted to make 5 throughout the year, I can put them in, and whichever one gets picked up wherever, that's how I would make money. And then I get entered into, it's like a kind of a database of sculptures, and
Mhm.
people can go to this place, look it up, and if they see something that they like that I would create, or if they want me to create something, they can pay me to make sculptures. Or I can just,
Wow.
make them and
And
post them.
sell them, and yeah, or do whatever. That's so cool.
Yeah.
How did you come up with the idea of what did you call him? Your gnome?
Mr. Hagel was. I know it's so cheesy, but it makes people laugh when they say it. So
Well, how did you come up with that? And like, where did that create, like, where did this idea come from?
sure. So he was a commission piece originally. I made him and he came out. I had no idea that he was going to look the way he does. He's supposed to be functional. So he was originally named Roman Gnome. And a lady from 605 magazine out here actually like wrote an article about him, about how he's supposed to bring joy and happiness to people's lives. his backpack is actually functional. I had to weld it shut for him being downtown so people didn't rip it off. But so his backpack would open and you could put gift cards or movie tickets or some kind of anything in the back of him. And then he was to be put on people's porches and then with a note that he's supposed to be passed along from house to house.
Oh,
So that's what,
cool.
but
Is
once
that how that started?
that is how he got started.
So
Yeah.
when you say commission, somebody asked you to make him or?
Yes.
Okay, and then you changed his name or somebody changed his name?
So what was so once I made him and the lady seen what I had done, she's like, I can't take this from you. I think he's gonna do really good things. So we decided
Aw.
on something else for her. And yeah, and then I just made the rest of him. He wasn't my initial, I have a vision board. So he wasn't my initial first thought that I would even have on the sculpture walk. But I'm like, why not? This is like something big for him and well, me. And so I just made the rest of him and entered him in on the sculpture walk and I got in.
That is so cool. And I love that there's meaning behind it. So did he actually get passed around for a period of time between people?
No,
No?
no. So I had like a month to decide whether I was going to put him in the sculpture walk or not. So I just threw together the other couple pieces. Well, actually, there's a leaf. He sits on a leaf, and then he's got an umbrella, which is the bigger mushroom, and then there's just little decorative mushrooms and vines and things like that on him.
Oh my gosh. Is that the first sculpture you've done?
Yes, other than other little pieces, more on the fabrication side. I actually have done, though this was after Hegel, but I made I don't know what you want to call it, like an emblem for the front of Kelly Murphy's truck that he won on Tough as Nails season 1. So
Mm-hmm.
he has that on the front of his truck. So,
That's so cool.
yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your family and kind of like your balance. I read that you also do like fitness, or that you teach class. I'm so interested in people that aren't just one thing. Do you know what I mean? That it's like I guess this notion that we all just think like we're only allowed to be one thing. Like I'm only allowed to be this and not slash that. And reading your bio, it was just really cool to have it be expressed and have you be like I'm a mom, like I do fitness, I'm a welder, like I help my husband, I'm a wife. Like I just liked that it's okay to be so many different things and let that be who you are.
Yeah. So I'm a mom of 3 girls. My husband and I have been together for 24 years this year. Our oldest is
Wow.
23, so she's out of the house, and then the other 2 are 13 and 15, so they're not babies anymore. So
Right.
that gives me a little bit of extra free play, and um, I've I love fitness, so I do that part-time, 3 days a week, roughly 4 to 5 hours a day. I love to do it. I love helping people, so that yeah, that allows me to do that.
Do you like teach
Um,
classes or what does the fitness,
yeah,
work look like?
so there's 2 coaches. You got one on the mic, you got one making sure everybody's posture's right. Um, so we got 30-minute classes. We just go in and we demo what the class is going to look like, and then we go through and we encourage. That's what we do. But
So
on the mic,
is it
mhm,
like a HIIT class or is it like a
yeah,
specific gym that you do?
it's hit, and
Mhm.
our capacity is 70. We usually have about half of that in class a day. Well, we have time periods, so we got like I'll do like the 5 a.m., the 6 a.m., 7 and 8:15, and there's usually it fluctuates, but yeah.
That's awesome. So you're working out all morning.
Yeah. I
You're like,
think by
oh,
the time I leave here, I have about 14, 15,000 steps in.
oh
So on the
my
days that I
gosh.
coach, by the time I'm done at the end of the night, I have about 24,000 steps in.
That's a lot. I'm like, 10,000 is a lot. That's double. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But I'm sure
And
that energizes you.
oh, it does. I love it. And I don't know if I wrote in that bio that I'm part of the Hooded Heroes Foundation. I think I did that
Yeah,
too.
you
So
did. Hmm.
that's
What's
another thing
that?
that I volunteer for. We help welding students, get the proper PPE that the loans fall short on. So hoods, gloves, safety glasses, FR gear, boots, grinders. We got a lot of sponsors that help with the product end of it, the TIG cups and things like that. Yeah, so we just make sure that they get the proper PPE and all that kind of stuff. So there's actually a checklist. They'll go off and write like what it is that they need, and we'll put the package together and send it to them. They have to
That's
write,
awesome.
yeah, we have to check references and things like that too, just to make sure that they do need a hand up and it's not just a handout, things like
Yeah.
that.
Right, yeah, they aren't just giving it away. So what do you think is, just kind of speaking to that, that that we're just not like these one things. Would you say like creativity and passion drives what you do most in your life? Or do you like, oh no, I have to just make money and these are the things that I have to do? Like, was there a breaking point for you with that, with this other job? And, I just kind of want to see if you have any feedback on that.
It's fully passion driven, and my husband, he's really encouraging and he does support a lot of what I do. That is one of the reasons why I can do what I can do. So we don't necessarily, I don't mean this, and I don't necessarily need the extra income. So everything that I do, I put into my account, and that helps feed what I do.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, just being able to be supported and be passionate. I think that having a partner like that and being able to live it out is a beautiful thing.
Yes,
And I'm sure
we
you
worked very
support
hard to get
him.
there, though.
I'm sure. So have you ever helped your husband in the wood floor business, or how does that come into play? Are you behind the scenes? Have you ever done any stuff with him?
Yes, so I used to work side by side with him every single day. And then it was just getting to where, because I did the office stuff too, and the paperwork, all that kind of stuff, invoices, scheduling, and all that kind of stuff. It was getting to be too much for me to work side by side with him and do that at the same time. So I started cutting back my hours more and more and more. And then once I started my own business, my welding business, I started pulling away just a little bit more, teaching it, kind of pushing it onto him a little bit more.
Yeah.
And now it's more so him. Like I'll go to estimates and things with him at the end of the day. We have those scheduled for after work. So we'll do those. So I gotta kind of make time for that as well. So yeah, that's
cool.
about all I do with that now.
It just helps support. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Unless he's behind or needs help, then I'll go on a job and help him with that.
So does he do, so everything there is to know about, like, are you guys doing mainly hardwood? Are you doing like LVP? What's kind of like the trade that you learned there?
Yep. So my husband's done wood flooring his whole life. He grew up doing it because his dad was doing it. So he's second generation. So we sand and restore and refinish hardwood floors, old school. We do LVT, LVP. We don't do carpet. We don't do ceramic tile, none of that kind of stuff. There was a point in time where I needed to have a crew. So my oldest daughter and her friends would come on site with me, and I would have them rack out a floor or lay the paper down for the vapor barrier floor down and things like that. So yes, I have ran my own crew. I know how to do it and things like that. So I can run my own crew if I needed to.
You could throw some wood floor down if you had to. That's so cool.
Oh, yeah.
I wish that was something I knew how to do, because like I look at my floors all the time and I'm like, I need new stairs. But stairs feel like they're the most complicated thing with wood floors. I don't know why, it just like boggles my mind with the stairs.
Yes, the stairs is something I don't really do. Joe usually does those. So
I know, it's like a whole other animal, stairs.
it
I'm like,
is.
I'm gonna cut the angle wrong and everything's gonna be wrong.
Right.
Okay, well, what would be someplace that people could find you, follow you, be able to contact you if they think, oh my gosh, I'm the owner of this city, or I'm the mayor and whatever, like where could I find her to have her make us this amazing sculpture and have your expertise like get out into the world? Where can people find you?
Sure. I'm 605 Shield Maiden on Instagram, and that is mostly where I am. That's my hangout. And I do have email. So it's 605 shieldmaiden@gmail.com.
I love the name.
Thank you.
Is 605 your area code?
Yes.
Okay. And then where did you come up with the name Shield Maiden? I mean, I know it's because of like the welding shield, but like
Yeah, the welding,
how many other, names did you have before that? For ideas?
This was just what I came up with. The 605 obviously for the area code, and the shield, the shield for welding, and then like Shield Maiden. If you look back at what a Shield Maiden is, like online, it's just this really, BA chick, like warrior chick, and I'm like, that sounds kind of cool.
It does sound
And my
super
logo
cool.
is like it's kind of a Norse thing, and my logo actually means something too. It's create your own reality.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you see the two little lines. It's just what it means is create your own reality.
That's awesome. Absolutely. That's beautiful. Well, it has been a pleasure to get to know you and what you do and how you live out your life and in a creative and, kind of way to give back. And I think a lot of people will just completely relate with that.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it. It was great to meet you.
Yes, you too. Okay, well, have a great day and we'll chat soon.
Thank you.
Okay,
too.
Take care.
You too. Bye.
Thanks for joining me today on the She Build Show. My name is Stefanie Olson. My hope is that this episode leaves you feeling empowered and ready to boldly take that step into building the life that you envision, 1 2x4 at a time. And if you can do me a quick favor, please leave me a 5-star review on iTunes. I get giddy over reading the reviews each week, and I will choose one special person to win some She Build swag. Make sure you add your name to the review, and I'll reach out if you're the winner. Thanks again for hanging out. Be sure to visit me at theshebuildshow.com, where you can ask me questions and share with me what you're building.